The Bond Arms Roughneck 357 Derringer. It's for self-defense, up close and personal. This is the Bond Arms Roughneck Derringer in 357 Magnum. It has been cleared and safety checked, so as far as you know it's safe. The Roughneck line is the more affordable line of Bond Arm Derringers. They keep the cost down by not finishing the frame off as nicely as some of the other lines. I like the frosted look to it. There's a little bit of texture to it. I'm perfectly fine with it, and at almost half the cost, I think it's a deal. It is a 2-shot. This is 357 Magnum 38 Special, single action. So you have to pull the hammer back each time to fire it, and it will alternate in between the two barrels. The barrel length is 2.5 inches, and half of that is chamber, half of that is barrel. So when you fire it, most of the explosion happens outside the barrel. So with 357 Magnum, you get a fireball that looks like this. With 38 Special, it looks like this. And it makes more of a boom than it does a crack, like a lot of 357 revolvers. I had the range officer ask me if I was firing a big bore revolver, but it's just my little Derringer. Comes with rubber grips. The height is 4 inches. The length is 4.5 inches. Its weight is 19 ounces. It's a pretty good little chunk, but that's nice because it helps absorb some of that recoil. The recoil isn't too bad, as most of the explosion happens outside the barrel. There's not as much force pushing back. With 357 Magnum, you feel it, but it's not, for me, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as my 2-inch airweight Smith & Wesson. To me, that one feels a lot snappier and hurts my wrist a lot more. This one I'll feel in the palm of my hand. The trigger guard is removable, and on mine it removed itself. I tightened it back up, it removed itself. I blue Loctited it, and it stripped itself. So I have it on here just so you can see what it looks like. It's not necessary, as this is single action. I'll probably take it off. I forgot to fill out the warranty. The warranty card says to fill it out within 30 days, and I always forget to do that. But I'm not real worried about it. I'm just going to take it off. The trigger on it, I don't know what the trigger weight is, but it's very short, kind of heavy, but it feels different than any other trigger that I've used. It's short like a 1911, but instead of sliding back, it rotates like a conventional trigger. It takes a lot of getting used to, as do the sights. It's kind of a gutter style sight, but it's just a small notch and a really tall front sight. I still need a lot more range time to get used to this, but this is meant to be put up close and personal. It's a get-off-me gun, a belly gun, so it's in close. It's a backup gun. It's not for long-range shooting. In fact, in shooting this, the 357, I think it's shaving lead in tumbling. The 38 doesn't seem to do it as much, so I don't know if it's... I only have one type of ammunition for 357, so I haven't tried any other ones to see if it also does it. But again, this is for really close range, so I'm not too worried about it. I don't know what the velocities are, being such a short barrel, but I'm not overly concerned about that, to be honest. It has a safety, which you slide to the left, and it physically blocks the hammer from striking the firing pins. It alternates between the two firing pins. This little piece here will slide up and down to contact either one of the firing pins. To open it, there is a lever on the left side, Slide it down and the barrel rotates up. The 357 has an extractor, which is nice. Makes it a little easier to get the rounds out. There you can see your two firing pins. There is a lock, so you can lock the gun so it won't fire. Here's the screw for the trigger guard. The barrel from any line of the Bond Arms Derringers will fit any other frame on the Bond Arms line. I plan to get 45 and maybe one or two other in the future, and I'll do update videos on that. All you have to do is remove that screw and then swap in your new barrel. You can get different grips. These are rubber, which gives you pretty good control, relatively speaking. As the grip is short, I can only get 2 fingers on it. When you hold it, it feels like you can get a really good strong grip, but as soon as you pull the hammer back, it forces your hand down. So if you check these out, make sure to cock the hammer so you can feel what that feels like. When you fire the 357 especially, you can feel the difference between the two barrels firing. The upper barrel is a little more snappy. The lower barrel is more in line with your wrist, so it has a lower bore axis and puts the recoil back in your wrist. And you wouldn't think that such a short distance would make that big a difference, but you can really feel it with the 357 Magnum. So if you're looking for a backup gun, a belly gun, get-off-me gun, something that's really affordable, give the Bond Arms Roughneck a look.